and the 1 to 2.2 and the 3 to 3.5. Not everybody's going to need the same juice at the same time. You're going to have to differentiate what they need linguistically.
And I am nowhere near the expert enough to do this, but I have just a couple
I'm
questions.
just old.
But what is your, Ms. Toledo, when, as the 6th, 7th, 8th graders, what is your estimation of their understanding of academic language in science, in Spanish? Math and science in any content area, in Spanish. Is it high? Would kids be able to address any of the high, like the content areas with high degree of proficiency in Spanish?
I want to say, well, since most of our students are English language learners, I want to say yes. I do believe that if they're given Spanish content, that they are going to mostly understand it. They're going to mostly be able to read, write about it, and have comprehension. I know that when our students take the math test, so our newcomers don't take the English reading test in himself, but they do take the math, and that one is given to them in Spanish, and a lot of them do really well on that test.
So they probably have a pretty good, by and large, they have probably a pretty good understanding of academic language in their native language. But the challenge, of course, is when they eventually have to take the English test is to bridge that. So I guess I have a question about what will happen. Do you have any classrooms right now that have been successful at? Have you broken down the data by teacher to see, are there any teachers that have been very successful with that?
Well, the problem with that is that we have all our students, because we're not self-contained teachers.
Oh, you're
we see
departmentalized.
all of them, right?
Got it.
So
okay.
Mr. Gallegos, who's the science teacher, would see all 100 and something
I
students,
forgot.
right?
Yes, thank you.
So
Departmentalized.
yeah, so elementary, they're a little bit more self-contained. They have more control of
The only way to get to that is through lesson planning and
Yeah.
observation and putting in making sure there's a language objective and a content objective.
And I know that Dr. Rivera has
That's
worked.
what we've been doing
So
for
one
years.
thing that I do have to say, Dr. Rivera has worked with all of the teachers in our PLCs, developing how to develop language objectives.
Mhm.
We have talked about sheltered instruction. We have talked about different types of strategies that we should be implementing with our ELL students. And I know that that is being done. So it is coming from the top, it's coming from our leadership. They provide the training. We have so much that we do throughout the year that really, really supports the teachers in that sense. The thing that, what I don't understand then, where is the disconnect? Because we're getting all of this information, we're getting all of this support from our leadership. But then when it comes down to actually getting the job done and putting it, I can write it in my lesson plan. It'll look beautiful.
It takes kids,
But if I'm a teacher in a classroom and I'm not implementing that,
it takes
and
kids
that's
6
where
to
there's
7
challenge.
years.
to master a language,
6 to 7 years to
Yes.
move on that continuum.
Yes,
For some
Right.
kids, it takes 9 years.
yes.
For some kids, they're leaving high school, they're barely hitting their proficiency. The implications are family literacy, parent and adult education.
Yep.
You can tell the kids who move in that faster time frame. Their parents are reading to them, they have books at home, they're going to the library, they're buying a book. You can just see it, but for some kids, they're barely getting at that achievement level in 9 years.
And as you can see, we do have a large number of newcomers in our 6th, 7th, and 8th
Well, in
grade.
California, it's 11 and 12 years.
That, and many of them have been here 1 year or less. So that's a really big challenge for us. So what I've done is I've broken it down through the domains, and this is the domain that we're covering right now. And these are some of the suggested plans for improvement. Under domain 4 for culture shift, some of the things that I've noticed this year: health and wellness referrals to support students. That was very successful. We've done a lot of health and wellness this year for our students. Behavioral health, CDHA was reinstated, and that really did help with our discipline with many of the students in middle school who really needed that extra support. Class management and discipline challenges. We did have some challenges this year. I know that there was an increased number of students who were being sent to the office, and it overwhelmed our office staff.
Because Casey's mean.
And and
Wait, were they here for
some of the
discipline or what
things-
can they do?
some of the reasons that we noticed that kids were being sent to the office without referrals or without reflections, and then Mr. Benavides had to stop what he was doing to give the kid the reflection form and so forth. And and then the last thing I want to talk about, the newcomer center, that has been successful in supporting our students and their families. But some of the suggestions that I had was for like class management, the no nonsense nurture class management program. That's an excellent program. Dr. Moncada has provided us that training in the past. I find it to be one of the most effective programs that I've ever used for class management. So I think maybe giving us a refresher, especially because we do have new teachers coming on board, that could be something that could really help us. How to ensure discipline protocols are being implemented, that's a big question, because you can give us the training and everything, but then it comes to our leadership and our coaches, how do we make sure that this is actually?
Are you mentoring the teachers who are sending people out of their rooms to solve the problems?
Am I mentoring them?
Are they getting mentored anywhere?
I don't know, because I'm not in that, that's above my pay grade. So I don't know, that would be the leadership.
Emily says and SAT coach.
Oh,
Maybe
I'm gonna
next
say
year.
that coach for next year.
But we also had Dr. Elia Maria Romero as a mentor.
Oh, yes.
We also have
Yes.
Saida as a
Yes.
mentor.
Yes.
Next year, Ms. Angelica would also be a mentor.
Okay, perfect.
Mrs. Moncada was a mentor in the lower grades with pre-K. So there has been a lot of mentoring. Now this year, we also joined the REC. They're now running through the Office of Special Education, the mentoring program. So we did 2 years with statewide mentoring training, and next year we'll get money for teachers to mentor teachers and training. As part of
And
the
that's
new
great,
initiative.
because that's awesome, because one of the things I put on there is the support for the teachers. I was thinking individual portfolios and action plans. Each teacher has their different ways, their personality is different, their ways of doing things in the classroom is different. So I think that if we target each teacher individually, and give them a chance to meet one-on-one with an instructional coach and say, okay, this is a portfolio that we're gonna build throughout the year, we're gonna keep track, it's a work in progress. But I think if we do something to that effect, it might be more effective, because then you can really target certain things that, might be missing in the classroom, but it's not my job to tell them what's missing, it's their job to understand and to realize and reflect. Oh, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. I'm seeing this more and more with my students,
Do
right?
you look at their lesson plans? Does anybody
Oh, they
review?
do look,
Yeah.
yes,
Well-
they do.
And are they doing well on content and language?
We also
What they-
do, we're working on it. They've gotten better.
It's part of the template.
But
We provide them a template with all these things that are included, and then they have to turn them in by midnight on a Sunday. We start reviewing on Monday that week. There's 3 people assigned to each one of them.
That's the only way you're gonna, the other last approach, and then I could come visit with you at another time. Obviously, I don't want to bore, but this is my academic discipline. I've spent a lot of time on it. Is to create a portfolio of a student and give the teachers a case study of their reading level, their writing level, their,
Graduate portfolios?
no, just little case studies, and have them problem solve how they would
Oh,
mediate
yes.
instruction.
Yes, like
Take your
like
real
a-
life student scores that you have here and say
Yes.
you've got Juanito and he came in at this and listening, he has this and speaking, and he has.
I know that I've talked to Ms. Thomas, she's the ELA teacher, and I do this every single year. I do go through I make the students understand their own progress, their own data assessment. We review data together, we set class goals, they set individual goals. That's definitely a process.
No, the
that's being-
teachers should be doing that, and they should be able to see where they can intervene. That's what I talked about, the
Oh, I
targeted
see what you're
instruction.
saying.
So that case study approach would be for
Yeah.
them to have that student's portfolio like this and say, wow, where are we, is it,
by literacy
Even sharing-
profiles.
yeah.
Even sharing the successes among each department at 6th, 7th, 8th grade level. When you meet, I'm sure you discuss whole groups and small groups and individual students, but when you measure the growth on the WIDA, and you can see what students are making that great growth, what are the successful strategies that all of you have used to get them there, and maybe try to replicate that more or duplicate it from your classroom to another classroom?
Okay, so some of the things, for example, on the WIDA test, they have to do there's a speaking part, right? So there's
Right.
speaking, listening, writing, and reading. So the speaking is usually our lowest scores. Like every year, we always get the lowest scores in our speaking
Computerized,
section,
so
right?
they
Because
just
it
talk
is
to the computer.
computerized. And they have to speak in a little microphone. So something that I've done in the last 2 years was I've organized with the other language teachers. We put together a list of students where I said, okay, we've grouped them in small groups, and me and the language teachers have taken upon ourselves to kind of like, this is my small group, maybe I'll have 5 small groups, and each group, we separate them so that they're across in different places. They're not looking at each other, they're looking at the wall. So now they're not embarrassed by, speaking, because that's really one of the things, is the confidence. But throughout the school year, I know that I've practiced with my students, and that's one of the things where they're verbally saying things in English. So if I ask you a question and you tell me something in Spanish, I'm gonna tell Dr. Medina, she's sitting next to you, go ahead and help him translate that. And then she would say it in English, and you would have to tell it back to me. So now you're building a culture of, that's the expectation. You're not just gonna, this is an English class where you're gonna learn English.
I
You're gonna
already
also
do that
build
for him when we
confidence.
speak Spanish. I would translate it. I don't want to be his ELL partner.
But you see what it is? It's teamwork. It's partnership, right? So it's a lot of collaboration, and these are avid strategies, really.
So we have Avid in
Yeah.
common with the middle school.
We
So
do,
we have the reading apprenticeship in common with the middle
and I
school.
put that also the RA,
And then we have
writing system.
Musella,
New
that-
CLA.
that it's available to everybody, and
Yes.
common resources.
So
we do
these,
have a lot for
we are
middle
doing amazing things. Our leadership is providing with so much support, resources, materials, the training. Dr. Rivera has always met with us once a month at our PLCs to make sure that she's targeting data, she's looking at instruction, she's giving us time to reflect. So we have all of these amazing things in place.
And what else you got?
But sometimes you also
the
have to
gaps.
look at what's not working. Because in order to fix an issue, and this is why, this is nothing negative against, I love my school. I love working here. And I'm proud of the things that we have accomplished. But we also have to have sometimes really hard conversations. In order for us in leadership, or anyone in leadership, for us to move forward as a school, we have to address the things that are not working. Because we have so many things that are working, but there might be some things that are holding us back. And so this is why I put on this side some of the things that I've noticed that might be giving us some problems. Class management, that's why I said about no nonsense. Dr. Moncada, can you go up now to the other 2 domains? So I can, no, the other, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So in domain 1, I just put things for this year. Attendance has increased due to active interventions, thanks to Mr. Benavides and everyone in our administration. Really enforcing attendance this year has made a huge difference, huge difference. It actually, we have now students that I remember 2 years ago, which, missed 20 days or so in a year, and now they're here all the time. So this is a big change. The bilingual seal was challenging, but it was successful. So it was challenging because we had mentors for the first time this year, and because we had very stringent deadlines. And a lot of times our students were not able to meet those deadlines. And so that's kind of like what started giving us challenges throughout the school year. Mentors were having challenges in creating the time and having the time to meet with their mentees to see what was going to be working. So I said, well, this may be a plan is, I know that we did, I think Dr. Rivera mentioned the bilingual seal survey, revisiting the deadline schedule and program requirements, the new expectations for mentors and students. And then if there's any other suggestions, please add to this list. There's space here. I would love to hear your feedback, how to move forward with this. I am taking the role of instructional coach this coming year. So I'm really excited, and like I said, in order for me to be able to be an effective, effective as in my role, I definitely need the support from the governing board, and I need everyone's here support in the sense of any suggestions, any feedback, in how to move forward in all of these different domains.
Targeted intervention for those who are not making AMAO or adequate progress. You have a comprehension issue, that's pretty easy to solve. That's the way teachers use directed declarative language. So the comprehension scores are low. So they're getting information, but they're not processing it. They're not being asked things like, what do you think, or what did you see, or even asking parents, when you go to movies, ask your kids what they saw or what they understood. Don't just plug them into it, because we all watch the same thing, but if no one's really focusing you on comprehension, you just had an experience, right? So comprehension strategies in the classroom. If they don't use PSYOP, I would just even do a walkthrough of the PSYOP lesson plan because it helps. You think about the observation protocol, what you should be looking for, the look fors. And there's some other resources. I really would do a case study approach where you would pull this kid and not identify them, but say they have this in listening, this in speaking, this in reading, writing, this in their overall score. What do you see happening here? I think teachers need opportunity to talk about not individual kids, but hypothetical kids. And then at the end of the day, learning English is really difficult. I'm still working on it. It's a different language, so different structurally from Spanish. And let kids experience and understand that it's going to take them a lifetime to be a good speaker of both languages. Nobody gets it overnight. So, and part of that self-esteem, I think, is important.
It's huge.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids are too shy to say anything in other classes a lot of the times because they feel like they're going to get made fun of. There's a lot going on, so the confidence level, we really need to nurture that, social emotional, right? So we need to really nurture the social emotional aspect of that as well.
I just teach Dr. Monahan the bad
But
words.
not in your class, because I've been there about a couple of years ago in a science
That's right,
project.
you can, that's
And
right.
I like to,
And it's an English class, but we did a science project fair.
but, so I like to thank you, Ms. Toledo,
Oh,
for your
you're welcome.
passion, for your hard work, your data-driven approach to getting our kids to where they need to be. You don't have all the answers, but we're working on that.
Yes.
Want to thank you for that.
It takes
I
a
can say
team.
from my experience, I've been in her classroom for half an hour one day last year. And it was, the kids were very, first of all, they were motivated, they were not shy at all to be able to speak. They all had their roles to play and they knew their content and wanted to share it with me, and I was very impressed. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Monahan. Thank you for that. And then the last thing, talent development. Of course, we have new positions coming up in middle school. I'm going to be the instructional coach this coming year. We have someone who's been taking my place. I believe there's the social studies teacher is now going to be Miss Lorena Torres. Not Lorena. I'm sorry, Miss Torres, Liliana for social studies. Science is now going to be Mr. Pitos, and
We're switching math and science.
math and science, right? That's right. The both of them are going to be switching, right? And so increased number of observations. This year we had extra, I don't know if this affected, I think it affected all the teachers, correct?
Yes.
We had reading apprenticeship, so they were, because we've received the training for 2 years, we had extra observations for us. So we had, besides the observations that are due for our evaluations, we also had them come in for that. Writing to Succeed was something that Ms. Bernila and Dr. Rivera were working on, and we had, they had to stop it once the cuts to the funding and to the grants took
That's
place.
one grant.
Yeah,
like,
so
to
we
cover
only
that.
did half a year on that, but I learned a lot from that half a year, and I thought it was great. So we had observations in that. We also had the TNTP, and I know that we had our leadership come into our classrooms and do the TNTP observations as well. So there was an increased number of observations. So some of the things I was thinking of was, maybe from the beginning of the year, looking at the calendar year and setting a schedule for observations for the year, something to that effect. Just so that many teachers would already have this expectation, right? So that they know from the beginning of the year kind of like what to expect. Something to that effect. And I don't know, I think some of these, I think this was TNTP apprenticeship was done with all middle school, but Writing to Succeed, I think, was only with a certain number of teachers who actually volunteered to take that training. But that is it, and hello to everyone that's joining us online. That's it, that's my report. I am so sorry, I apologize that I went a little over, but I haven't had a chance to meet with any of you this year, and I really wanted to bring it home and say, this is kind of like a caption of like everything.
Are you nationally board certified yet?
No,
You work on that.
I am planning to.
There you go.
Thank you.
You started working on it,
It's tough, yeah, I
but
did, I've
once
been
you
registered.
drop, you have
for
to
2
start
years.
again.
Finish,
So,
then your students, they'll understand what it means to finish.
No,
I know.
hasta las 7 porque
I believe
no
this
veo
year
nadie.
it's gonna be, I think
Well, if you would like to meet with our achievement committee at another time, we could set that up. Some of the ideas that I've shared with you about teaching for the case study and using
And that,
So I think SIAP would really help
if you
the
can please share
secondary.
that with the governing board, this, so that if they have any
Yes,
suggestions, they
absolutely.
can also add to this. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Is she been SIAP or Caltrain?
She's been trained in GLAD, but she needs refreshers and those things.
Glad,
Avid.
cultural responsive.
That's part of the problem though, is that it's like a grocery store and
It's-
it's how many choose. and-
That's
There's
why
so
we need
many.
to
Then you put it
train
in
them.
the pantry and never use it.
Well, I would go to the West End website, West End,
Yeah,
and then I would look at Dr. Walke's work, Alida Walke. She's Peruvian, but she works a lot on cognitive academic language approaches to teaching Kalam. Kalam. That's what you're getting at, is these kids are, and even those of you who have little kids, they get stuck, we all get stuck at our level 3 proficiency because everyone thinks we're ducks. We walk like ducks and we look like ducks and we're not really ducks. They are somewhat proficient in English, but they haven't got to that academic proficiency.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your feedback and your suggestions.
I just care a little bit about the subject.
And not to let you talk for 30 minutes.
I know. That's what thank you. Oh my God.
I think there's some good choices
great.
to make. I think there's some, I mean, we've seen some improvement, we want more. We've seen it go up and we want our students to all excel because that's the opportunity they have. And all the other stuff we do is not important, it's what's happening in the classroom that's
That's the
important.
most important, exactly.
That's the most
We
important.
may have spent 30 minutes on this, but it's the most important thing. It's our students, and they're achieving the most important in the school. Thank you.
Because we all want to really retire someday, and if they have good jobs because they have a good education, we get more retirement. That's just how I think of it. But if they don't have a good education and can't get a good job, then they can't contribute to my social security. So that's how I'm interested in. Thank you so much. Dr. Moncada?
Principal's report.
That's okay. That's it.
3 minutes.
Okay.
So what I did here was the student projections. Well, first of all, thank you everybody for being here. I've never seen this office feel like today. With the main camera everywhere.
So yesterday.
Yes. Thank you everybody for your involvement in the school. I got to see a lot of you over the last month or so. What I did on here is I did the projection for next year and the actual numbers. So for pre-K, we're adding one more class, so we'll go from 52 students to 72. In kindergarten, we have a goal of 60, we're at 55. In first grade, our goal was 60 and we had 60 this year. In second grade, our goal is 66, we were at 60 this year. In third grade, our goal is 66, we were at 54. Fourth grade from 61, our goal is 66. There's 3 teachers in most of these grades, so for kindergarten, we get 20 students per teacher, so there's 3. In first grade, there's 3. Second grade, there's 3. Next year will be up to 5th grade with 3 classes. That way we see a projection of 66 students in 5th grade next year. This year we were at 39. And then in 6th grade, our goal next year is 54. This year we were at 56. 7th grade, our goal will be 54. And we were at 46. So I just wanted to show you where our month growth will be next year, pre-K and 5th. If all students show up next year, we'll have 619 students, including pre-K.
And what's our capacity?
620.
What do we do with the ones we can't take? Where do we send them?
They're on the waiting list. So then, that's an enrollment. And I'm just gonna do a few bullets here for the main one, leadership transformation. We will have 5 teacher residents. We've been getting training with New Mexico Norton, Northern New Mexico College. So we are going to have 3 candidates with Norton, 1 with New Mexico Highlands and 1 with Western New Mexico. So next year we'll have a total of 5 teacher residents. So they'll be working side by side with the teachers.
Do you allow
I was
them,
wondering what it was, that's all,
Yes.
thank you.
do you
So-
allow them to sub if you need them to sub or no?
Yes, we can.
Technically you can, but
We can.
They're the last resort.
I wouldn't do it, but
Yeah. So these are people with college degrees or near finishing their college degree that are allowed to be in these programs. The university will give us between 35,000 and 37,000, or they will pay directly to them. Casey and I are working on a CSP grant for expansion for $1.5 million. We do have a meeting with them tomorrow because we have a lot of questions on what we can do and can't do. Keep your fingers crossed. It's due July 10th. For domain 2 town development, I gave you a breakdown of the employees who left. Mrs. Gamboa resigned, so she is moving to Virginia.
for real.
For real.
This time, okay.
And she had her surgery, so she's been home for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Mrs. Daniela Reyes, a pre-K teacher, she resigned. She is going on to do her own pre-K business, along with one of the EAs, Ms. Flor Guadarrama, in pre-K. So they'll be opening their own pre-K or daycare. And Ms. Renee Smith, she was terminated. She was a 4th grade teacher. Mr. Adrian Nogales was terminated. He was going to be a 5th grade teacher next year. We are hiring or been interviewing for a 3rd grade bilingual teacher, 4th grade ELA teacher, 5th grade ELA teacher, and then we also interviewed for 6th grade ELD teacher. So those are the 4 vacancies that we have. Most of the teachers that we had as student teachers are in early childhood, so their license only goes up to 3rd grade, so we can't really use them. The new positions, these are all the new positions that we are having for next school year. Mostly are pre-K and EAs and special ed. And then we did add a few positions like a special ed secretary and attendance clerk. We did write the grant for community school grant, and we did get it. We'll be getting 40,000. We did hire Ms. Paola Castillo, the community outreach / marketing person. We applied for CTE grant for middle school, so we are bringing somebody part-time to do STEM. And we are moving 1 person from the office clerk to the health office. So we are replacing that position. And there's a teacher residence. And then for domain 3, we are receiving the Structure Literacy Support Schools grant. That's why we had to go to the literacy convening last week. We still do not know how much, but we are getting that. And as part of that grant, we also get a coach that helps with letters implementation and sound walls and English. We are implementing a summer literacy program, science program, and recreation with our GC. In the end of the year articulation meetings were very successful, and I got to sit on a few of them. So the teachers had a lot of great things to share. They were very honest about the areas that they didn't do very well on, that they would like for the teachers next year to work on with kids. For SCL, we had a lot of promotion ceremonies, pre-K, kindergarten, 5th grade, and 8th grade. And then we also had 2 beautiful play performances with 1st grade and 5th grade. And then the bilingual seal. So I saw many of you at different times, so thank you for your involvement. And then we are hosting the National Spanish Spelling Bee in Albuquerque this year on July 11 and 12 at the National Hispanic Cultural Center, so you're invited to attend. I've been behind the scenes helping with that event. With the bilingual seal, we have 36 students recognized on the 30th, and we did have State Representative Yanira Gurola as our guest speaker. She loves her school, loves our work, and she did sponsor our school with $100,000 with capital funding this year. And then for the 8th grade promotion ceremony, we invited Moma Estes, our state senator, and he stayed for the whole event, which took 2.5 hours. He was very impressed. This year we only got $25,000 from him for capital outlay, but I'm anticipating next year we'll get a lot more. He did ask me to meet with him over the summer so we can develop a 3-year plan. So, more money first. And I was invited to a house party for City Mayor Tim Keller by the Romero team, and that was very interesting. I enjoyed being there. So le dije gracias por paving the parking out there.
I told them that we had kids playing in sticker patches. Hopefully it will fly. I forgot to mention that Congressman Stansberry wants to come back in August.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me know when she's around.
Yeah,
I'd
right.
love to meet her.
Well, she'll arrange it. She'll have to do security,
She
but
went
we'll
to
arrange
school
it.
by you. See the letters.
Oh,
She's very smart. Right?
I brought Ebony around to visit, and that was a crazy day.
Oh, ese día que vino, sí. That's when you couldn't get out of the parking.
Oh, with Ebony. Yeah.
So that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
You're on a 220 contract?
Casey and I have been here all year round.
I was gonna say, when do you two take off?
Tomorrow,
Around 210,
Tomorrow,
2:10, and I come back the 7th, but
July 7th.
July 7th.
we still
I'm
have,
gonna lock you guys out of the building if you don't leave it for a while.
grass
And
to
that
write.
means you have to get away, you have to take that time, you have to, it's a grind.
My office will just have a much prettier view for the next couple of weeks.
Fishing?
No, we're going to Puerto Vallarta, but
Oh,
I still have my,
He's the one I need to counsel, this one does. Dr. Moncada, you need to take time off.
No, I live on the 26th to Orlando.
Well, no, that's a
That's
conference.
not even-
July 2nd.
Dr. Moncada, that's cheating, that's the national conference.
I'm going in before the conference.
Malo.
We are gonna lock you out one day and not let you in.
So that's my report.
I said it, but I'm
just, Dr. Medina, just to recap to what you left on your report, we are already looking at the Hispanic Cultural Center for all the graduations, maybe at a 3-hour interval. So we'll start everything, we're looking at doing the bilingual banquet, the bilingual seal banquet the night before, and then having all 4 in 3-hour intervals the next day.
And then they'll go with you and be able to interpret. For the
Do you see how we
Oh, I'm not a certified interpreter. Working on it, but I'm not a certified interpreter.
Do you get to see the auditorium at La Academia, Esperanza?
Yes.
Was that big enough? No? It's too small?
Because we had well
Because
over
we
300 people
Over
here.
300
Some of
at some
these-
point.
I know, I was here, you could, people were like
You're telling them to sit down?
sardines.
Sardines.
It was better than the year before though, or the year after.
The year before was worse.
It was like, because I don't think we all knew, we got here early, waiting for the graduation, and it took,
You were
Like-
at the.
it was the pre-K.
Oh.
It was the pre-K. Well, last year was pre-K, but then when we got here, there was already people for the kindergarten and for the 5th grade.
Yeah.
So they were already like, so there was no space. There was like
No parking, no.
nothing, no sitting, yeah.
And the students had to thank everybody except for the school mouse.
Yeah.
It was hot and long. Didn't that one kid
We
faint?
survived.
Almost.
One.
One
He left
kid
early.
almost fainted, yeah.
I was watching him sway and I was like, there he goes.
Nathan.
Were you talking about my cousin?
Poor guy, but he
Oh,
was,
nice
we were all like the whole room was moving. We were going.
Nathan.
Yeah, they didn't get out of the hospital till about 11 o'clock.
He was not doing well.
Just ask my
So thank you for researching that. It'd be nice to have it in a safe place for everybody.
No, he has health issues.
We're looking
And
between
what
there
they
or the
need is
convention
hours.
center.
So the next
That was my son's
item
dinner one day.
was B. Do we spend any more time on B, achievement and strategic planning?
Nope,
I thought the budget update
Oh.
was, Zay,
yeah, and we're gonna meet with Mr. Lela. We'll find a time to look at the data.
sounds good.
If data makes mine and Ed's stocks go up and down.
And what I did here for the targeted professional development plan, I included on here this plan is the umbrella of a professional development plan that covers the features of their language and again, so the teaching framework, the state evaluation system.
Yep.
And then this is like the umbrella for professional development, and this is where we use it as the guide for professional development monthly. So,
I didn't get a chance to read through it, but I will take more time
and
in it.
then Dr. Rivera worked on an actual professional development plan by months for this year.
Where is?
Let me see, because I didn't put it in there.
Oh.
But she did
So if you're
send-
following along, we are on item C.
No. No. We have
We're
that
still
A.
on the
We never
principal
acted on
report.
Oh, I skipped a whole bunch of them.
I was wondering where we're going with
Yeah,
this.
no, we're
Oh,
still on,
because he's on C now.
Well, we haven't done A yet. Kyle hasn't.
That's fine. I was like,
Yeah.
we could just
I
come
saw
back.
the agenda, that, I
No,
was like,
Oh,
I'll take care
he
of-
took
I'll-
his principal's report and then went to that.
then he
Yes.
went, yeah, then,
Make
yeah.
more
So
sense.
Kyle-
I was like, no, where
That's
are
why
we?
you need a break.
Yeah.
Okay,
Kyle.
Kyle,
I'm sorry.
do you want to put up my financial report? So I know we are already running at the end and you guys do have an executive session. Is Dr. Moncada pulls up the financial reports and that you guys received last week. It was very simple. We had no bars. We only had the May bank reconciliation and bank statement that we discussed and the vouchers included into it. As Sylvia noted in the finance committee meeting that our cash liquidity did go up. We ended with 1.1 million in the bank, which is 2 months of cash liquidity. And our operational cash jumped from 400,000, I think it was last month, to 730,000, because we did get some of our larger RFRs in, such as the kitchen expansion grant, which was $200,000, and other items like that. And then really just the bank reconciliation below. Sylvia did bring up quite a few questions, because I know we're gonna have questions. Casey does have one reimbursement on there. Dr. Moncada has travel reimbursements on there. We do have another employee with a $10 reimbursement on there, but he does do Saturday work on projects, and so sometimes he doesn't have access to the P card. However, we have already started the process of getting Casey his own P card so that he can assign that to the maintenance workers or help other people get them when they need it. I think that was it, and then if you go down to, he's grabbing water bottles.
What is AJF Enterprises?
That is the security company for our contracted security. They send an officer for 30 hours a week, I believe. And he helps us do our traffic duty and monitor.
Well, then I'm
kids
gonna
and stuff.
apply for refunds for graduation.
Maybe,
Traffic
maybe.
management.
Oh, does it have
Ooh, the
the view? Oh, it does. Amazing.
Bad luck, you open it.
No la pesta.
Oh, so girl. Mira, this is what I wanted to see. Sorry.
What is-
That's what I was like.
What is
Those
the
are our
large
new-
financial
guys, a lot of
services?
advertising for Christine.
Delage, that is our leases for our copiers.
And Robert Muro, there's another, that's a 1027.
Yeah, so,
Saturday maintenance guy.
yeah, they do, projects and minor repairs on Saturdays and Sundays, and so
Are you allowed to
sometimes
keep a petty cash drawer or no?
it's
illegal.
much better for us to do a reimbursement,
Ah.
yeah.
I hate these little ones.
I know.
$14
Farida and Lorena don't like them in my office either, but
There's the $10, a $14 one.
stop bringing up the others.
I
That's so
need them. Oh my gosh, look at that. I was like, seriously?
No, Sylvia already grilled me on a lot of these, we talked about them.
Who's Gugliano and Associates? What do they do for us?
That is actually a garnishment. That is a writ of garnishment that we had building up, and then I finally got directions on how to pay it. And so that was dispersing the $6,000 we've been withholding from an employee for a few months.
Do we get interest?
That is just their writ of garnishment, just to pay off their balance.
And what was the 2002 Gumbo? Was that a reimbursement or payment?
That is a specialty payroll. Man, you got all the same questions, so that was a
Because she
specialty
trained
payroll
me.
because Miss Gamboa, originally her plan was to resign with her surgery. However, with the plans for her to return, we ended up keeping her on. However, at that point, I had removed her from the payroll to do calculations on her final payroll. And so she was missed on a payroll, so I had to do a special payroll to re-add her back.
And who
So if you
is
compare-
Andres Gonzalez and Claudio Jimenez? Those are dispersed.
Those are two vendors. One actually did these umbrellas, or no, the umbrellas and stuff are not.
Yes, Jane.
That's PSG. One of them did food for one of our events, and the other one did shirts for one of the clubs.
Okay.
I don't know which is which.
Where's
but-
the world's finest chocolate?
Excuse me?
World's finest chocolate.
Oh, did we pay them?
Those are paid for a long time.
Yeah, we paid those a long time.
No wonder they tasted stale.
Yeah. Those were like 9 months old. You didn't know that?
You didn't get any color of them?
Yeah.
They're already white.
The white chocolate bar
Well,
didn't give the hint.
The block that you got,
Was
The
fresh.
free one?
the free one.
1 pound. Lucky you. Se ganó 1 pound there.
World's finest chocolate. Do we pay?
We pay federal and state taxes at one time during the year.
Which ones are you referring to?
It's
In
like
taxation and rev?
it's the IRS and New Mexico taxation of 12,000 and 50,000.
So the 50,000, or anytime it says IRS or EFTPS,
Uh-huh.
that is our payroll deposits for our federal withholding and our social
Oh, okay.
security and Medicare withholding from all of our
Okay.
payrolls.
I see.
And we remit those after each payroll.
The same thing
And
with New Mexico taxation.
Exactly,
same thing.
except for that's once a month on
Okay.
a month.
That's your TRT.
Thank you.
Wage withholding tax is what they call it.
What's diverse development?
That is our contractors.
So that's, we're paying them in installments?
Yeah, and we've had, they were the only ones that answered our first 2 RFPs as well. They handled our first RFP for the kitchen expansion, and then they handled the RFP for the feasibility plan, where they helped us put together future plans for how we're gonna handle.
And they pull all the permits and everything?
Yes.
And they're also doing the feasibility study that he had it to share with us, but
Yeah, they're gonna wrap that up this next.
So we have
2 weeks.
bonsai landscaping, like? Oh,
For
karate
that
kid?
one, I was gonna ask, are we gonna have them do the other side too? Or are we gonna be getting a different person, or what's gonna happen?
We're looking at quotes right now. We'll get 3 quotes, but he's already put in a quote for that other side as well.
Oh.
Right now I have, I'm looking for quotes from Red Shovel, Tumbleweed, and Yellowstone.
Not Green Summit?
I haven't reached out to them, but I can.
Yellowstone's pricey. Well, you caught all the same ones, Sylvia. I don't like the piddly ones. You train you well,
You
Sylvia.
don't have to be.
Hires do need to
Sí,
vote
sí,
on
I'm
that.
So,
No, go ahead. This is just the bank reconciliation,
Right, yeah.
so it's the only actual,
I think you had an IRS payment of 50,000, was that
You
the rate?
re-explained that?
those are the tax deposits for the payrolls, and it's actually
Ah.
50,000 twice a month. Because it follows each of our payrolls. So our direct deposits, I believe, are 150,000 each, and then 15,000 in payroll taxes afterwards.
And the pay increase is effective July 1, correct?
We will be paying FY '25, so this year's contracts for all of our 10-month staff, all the way through July. New administrator contracts will begin 7/18, and then new instructional contracts will begin 8/1, being paid
And when does
On-
the COLA start on them? The cost of
on 8/1 and stuff. So the actual work begins 7/13, right, or is it 14?
14.
14 for when teachers come back, and that's when they're actually working their brand new contracts, but their first installment of that contract is 8/1.
Any other questions on financial report? Oh, wait, slow down, I like to read those. See what you guys are buying at the Einstein Bagels. $836, I'll come make you some bagels.
July 14th. You wanna sign up for breakfast? We'll put you
July
down.
14th.
I'll bring
Alguien,
my-
muchísimas
And
gracias.
toaster.
I'll bring my Blackstone and
Nomás necesito que me
So discussions.
Yeah,
If
we could have an
It's a
action
motion.
to approve, yeah.
It's a
the
motion.
bank reconciliations.
No vinieron para traducir.
Yeah, chair is open to a motion to approve the financial estimate.
I motion that we approve the.
Lo que voy a hacer es después incluir.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the report as submitted. Any discussion?
Gracias. De nada. Arelis con el link.
Thank you for being very thorough and for having this in advance. Appreciate being able to read through it. All those in favor of the motion, there's no more discussion on the financial report as submitted by Mr. Ryan. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
All those
Yes.
opposed say no. The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Right.
Now, Dr. McCullough, where did you lead me astray?
Now, you guys covered B, you were trying to move on.
No, we
Yeah,
didn't, actually, we did not.
I know,
Oh, you were kidding. I'm sorry.
I'm throwing you guys more off, I'm throwing you guys more off.
Sorry, but I won't take too much time. It depends on Dr. McCullough. Dr. McCullough, with B, I'm gonna try to be really quick because we've already hit 7:00 now. These are both goals that the Achievement and Strategic Planning Committee is setting. And one is that we work with you on the revised strategic plan. Do you have any sort of structure and dates for the new strategic plan as it relates to the application with APS for help fill the blank, renewal. Thank you. Okay.
So what I have on here is a draft of our revised strategic plan. I'm thinking we need to continue working on the items that we were working and just tweak them. The majority of the staff said that they like the goals that we have. And a survey I did to them, with them.
When they come back in July, would you have time in your professional learning to have them go through those for us?
Yes.
I noticed that we worked on Dr. McConnell those back in April or May. We came up with those charts for each one of these. Will those be inserted?
Yes.
Or is it possible that can we?
I was wondering how we can combine that one pager
Right.
and add these goals.
You can add each one of those charts that we developed for each one of the goals in here. And I'm wondering if there could be a time when governing council members could look at this and add their comments and suggestions and edits. Is this editable, this document for us
Yes.
on Google
Yes.
Drive? Okay.
It is.
What if we take a time frame of 2 weeks?
To
And
look over and.
in the next 2 weeks that we review this, and we provide edits, so that you can incorporate those edits and see fit, or respond to them in ways that you think is best.
That's a good idea.
Okay,
We should probably have a special session and work on this together.
okay.
I think that should be our board retreat in the fall.
But it's too late, we need it by October 1st. We need to submit it for the renewal by October 1st.
If we can fast track our comments to you right off the bat, so we get our suggestions to you, you should have sufficient time to incorporate or to work with us also on this. And if we need to have a special session, a small one, I'd be open to it.
What I did here too, I kept the notes from our strategic plan from before. We reviewed it several times.
Well, maybe our committee could work with you on that and then bring it to the board as a whole
And,
to save some time.
and I could even be part of the committee.
Well, we have breakfast in the committee.
Pues mejor.
Also,
Mucho
if
mejor.
Ms. Garcia's online, what if Ms. Garcia, Dr. Medina, myself provide input online and then we meet in another couple of weeks? That sounds good?
¿Está bien contigo?
And
Luciana?
anybody else who would like to participate? from the
Yes,
governing
it is.
council? Okay. Thank you.
Now may I go to C?
All right, C, target professional development plan. Dr. Medina.
Do you have a targeted professional development plan for us?
So is the one I was sharing with you?
An Excel sheet too.
So I left it on here.
Is it in my packet?
So we did a professional development.
Are you sharing World's Finest Chocolates?
No, I don't need those.
So aquí está este. We did this one by month. So I showed you the umbrella, which is the dual language pillars, right?
Mhm.
And then we did this one that has our themes and frameworks for professional development would continue to be GLAD, AVID, and then for SPERQ, the arena internship, and the analysis. And then by month, we try to break it down by different activities that we would be doing for training that we need to go back to.
And my eyes checked. Is that third column the person who's doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Facilitators and leads. I send emails and Dr. Rivera puts it all in a nice, in a nice, she captures everything and then she puts it in a nice format.
I have that right, or you just have it online?
I just put it in the drive under professional development for June 2022.
Can we come back to it at our July meeting? Because I'll be honest, I get confused.
Yeah, we can bring these back on July.
Yeah, because I didn't.
And it's basically these items, GLAD, AVID, and post-procedure analysis that is broken down.
So I'm moving to table item C. Is there a second? Is the second to table the targeted professional development plans for July meeting? That's okay, but I will read it, I promise. Now we're on item D and it's at 7:07. So we've been talking a little bit about restructuring given our enrollment growth. And thank you for your work on that, Dr. McCullough, and for all you board members giving us feedback.
So I came up with this. Looks a little better than the other one, but I still welcome any input.
Well, the Zorro needs to be a little darker.
I have a couple questions. That's what kind of, in your job description, it shows the executive director will be evaluating teachers. Will you be evaluating teachers anymore?
Well, I did that this year, but no.
Okay. Well, I'm asking.
I had a
because-
goal because I wanted to help out, but then it turns out that
No,
Casey ended up having to do a lot of mine too.
I'm gonna build this bubble of boundaries around you.
Okay, well, I just have a few questions about the line part of this chart, how it's all working, how you decide it. The executive director supervises the principal, and the principal only supervises the assistant principal. Is that correct?
No, they would supervise all those.
Down the ladder.
Okay, so then that, you need to put off those lines to wherever, the lines go to supervisory relationships, right? Okay, so the principal, the lines for principal need to go to whatever relationship that principal will be supervising.
So you're saying it needs to be.
And the
something
executive
like
director
this?
should supervise the business operations.
You're saying it's supposed to be something like this?
Yeah, your line would go down to business and HR management.
Something like this?
I don't know if you could do it down the line. Yeah, that goes there. And I think it's not just federal grants, I think it's all grants, grant procurement, grant development, I would put in your box,
Just grants.
grant development.
The way it looks, your assistant principal,
It's
but
doing
the,
all the job.
is gonna be supervising a whole bunch of people. And I don't think that's the way you really meant it to be. Each one of the directors, the curriculum instruction director, the special education director, they are gonna be supervising faculty and staff, right? Yeah, so, you may wanna think about reworking that so that the relationships, the supervisory relationships are indicated by a line for those boxes.
Like that. Cause she's got staff to supervise, she's got staff to
And
supervise.
Kyle, you'll be supervising staff as well. If those staff should be underneath where you are.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
just
this
put,
may
I
not be a
put
one page.
staff on all of them.
I have the instructional coaches, interventionists,
Right,
and then my,
so maybe you can bring this back and refine it to just reflect the supervisory relationships between each of those
That could be on like
positions.
page 2 though.
Yeah, well, they'll take plenty with
Yeah,
each
it
other.
takes more than one to do it.
Unless you take out the descriptions, or like, there's some descriptions with executive director and principal, maybe it would work, but it's up to you.
I think the version that we did for July 2023 is more appropriate, or closer
Where your
to it with
descriptions
us
are off to the left.
changing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and with us just changing those titles and stuff like that, because there it has all the different departments across the board, kind of like that, how it is now. I don't know if everybody can see that.
Dr. Rivera, are you also, for MLSS, is there gonna be a specific person on that? For MLSS and
it's
staff?
Aranda.
I don't know.
So would that be in your box también, because
Yeah.
you would also, for MLSS?
And I think you also, executive director also is a liaison to the state charter, state national charter. And PEB charter.
but it may, I agree with Kyle. It may not be bad to keep those responsibilities on another, maybe perhaps you have another PowerPoint or another document, while you have the relationships of the positions.
So you're looking at this one, Kyle?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one?
So I thought we had done a version, or I thought we
Yeah,
created a
we-
version for the changes coming up in this format. And I don't know, I couldn't find it in my drive.
Well, what that one doesn't have is the governance team.
No, it's right there.
Have it.
Where?
It doesn't
Governing
have it.
council's right here, but what we need is
No,
this.
because we only have one employee.
Just leave that one there, look, and make one above that for executive director.
Yeah, because you're the only employee we have. Everybody else works for somebody else.
And that last one, teachers, faculty, and staff, I break that up completely and be very specific about what does the assistant principal, what positions does she supervise, and the dean of students, and the special ed director, and the turnaround coach, so it's clearly defined.
Wait, why are we, shouldn't the executive director, we should just change the principal to executive director.
Right.
Because you have the description, you just have a name drop. We're never gonna get this done until 2025, 2026, 2027.
It's gonna keep changing.
Just when I think we have it.
But I think maybe leave Dr. Moncada to be able to organize it and bring it back. But with the parameters of that, if we could be more specific in terms of, first of all, boxes should have only the supervisory relationships between them, and be specific in terms of the positions that are located inside the boxes. Like the teachers, faculty, and staff it's a large group of various professionals and paraprofessionals.
Where do the social workers fit on this?
Yep, that's what I mean. So you may want to be very specific in terms of
One falls
who
under
the
special
assistant
ed, yeah,
principal.
one falls under special ed. but-
Well, they are kind of listed with like those
Yeah.
individual
Like
categories
special
on
ed,
the
it's
left.
right here. Special ed.
But they're not learning in the main.
So we should break those boxes and put them below, is more so what you're saying.
Just put a light. Well, it would be optimal to start your new school year with this explained to your staff.
Saida just said she shared one that she had prepared very similar to what they're asking. If you can, she just shared it with you.
If she's not here, she doesn't get a voice at the table.
She's online.
She's
She's been online the whole time.
She's the third one.
I'm sorry.
¿Dónde está mi Zaira?
We're at the punchy time.
Se lo acabo de compartir otra vez y está en la página 3. That's the one that you asked me to work on, slide number 3. The gray one.
Yeah, we had that conversation. Why are you
Yes,
bringing that up again?
So esta es muy
Because this is
similar a
what
la
we
que
have.
estaba
This is what we're
haciendo.
provided.
Oh, okay. So this is very similar to the one that I was working on.
Are we putting a date or revision on these?
But again, this one needs help too, because the principal is gonna be,
It just needs that line to go straight down to.
yeah, exactly, Casey. The principal will also be supervising teachers, faculty, and staff, but it would be good to kind of
Oh, yeah.
differentiate between teachers, social work.
Janitors.
Exactly, janitors, and
Support staff.
the different positions you have here.
Is that gonna be you?
So I like that and with this.
Right. That might be a second, like an index or something
Mhm.
on a second page.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can refer to it.
See, so I was trying to do that here so that it will be on a separate page.
Well, we'll let you play with that. I don't want to get in the weeds.
Yeah.
That's good. You guys have to give Syra the shovel and
Yep, and follow the horses.
the parade.
I just suggested it because if I was part of the staff here, if I know what my position is, I should know, then who's going to be supervising me? So think about it maybe in those terms. Like if any of your faculty personnel should be able to identify who their supervisor, where they fit on the chart.
Ah,
That's all.
you got it. All right, where are we now? Got me all over this.
Eat.
We're
Dr. Medina, it's not a shovel anymore, I have to buy a tractor.
A bobcat?
Bobcat.
I want to drive one of those.
It's not hard.
For tabling, D, right?
Oh,
No, it's just
Oh, we need to,
discussion.
was it a discussion or a motion?
Um,
Discussion and
you had a-
consideration with possible
Discussion, yeah,
approval or
but-
disapproval, so you can put table.
Dr. Rivera, what you got for us?
It's my turn?
Eight. Hello, wake up over there.
Ahí se lo voy a poner.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today about the proposal for multilingual learner support and biliteracy coaching for next school year. Before I describe this proposal, I would like to give a brief background. I think Ms. Toledo talked about the different trainings that our staff have been receiving for many years. And our school has made a significant investment in high quality professional development. And our teachers have been trained in research-based frameworks such as GLAD, Guiding Language Acquisition Design, AVID, Advancement Individual Via Determination, M4 Achievement Inspiring Mathematics for Scaffolding Student Success. Each of them has been with the purpose of strengthening instructional practice, academic language development, and student engagement. Now we are at a critical point. It's time to ensure that these strategies are not just understood, but implemented consistently in every classroom. And this is the reason why we put together a proposal. And you have in your, I think you have in your packet, yes. In this proposal, we have 10 professional development coaching objectives, each of them for the framework that PD that we would like to embrace next school year. I'm going to give you time for you to read the 10 objectives. Do you have questions? Let me know. No. And then the other part, I'm going to give you time, teaching time.
I would put to foster teacher reflection and growth at the beginning,
Okay?
because if you don't have that, you can't do the rest.
So the third part of this proposal has the time allocation overview. These dates are all Fridays. The Fridays when teachers are now in session just for planning. This is planning only.
Is it the whole time Friday?
All the whole day, yes, because we are planning K through 2 and 3 to 8.
That's a lot of development, 168 hours.
Just, yeah, because we are trying to have 3 cycles of collaboration and also planning instructional rounds to observe and debrief best practices. Is going to be a key for continue those professional developments. Sorry. And also we are going to use data. And you know, when we use data, we have to go by grade level, by teacher, and not all the teachers are in the same stages. Like we ask the teachers to meet the students where they at. We, as instructional coaches, we are going to meet the teachers where they at.
So on the oral language, on the practice on bullet number 155,
Mm-hmm.
would be a friendly amendment to add the content language objectives?
Yes. Okay.
And on differentiation, would it be a friendly amendment to add maybe just a walkthrough of SIOP?
Okay,
It's just a one pager, it's online and it's free.
So, there's, I have a menu of SIAP model.
And then I talked about targeted assistance.
mhm.
I would put that under 1, 2, 3. Your fourth bullet and supporting biliteracy.
What,
I'm-
oh, you are making the changes, okay, thank you.
So that, what I mean by the targeted intervention is if you look at that data that she presented tonight, and that has all that information on students and levels,
Mhm.
that would allow you to do some targeted intervention and supporting biliteracy. And that's all my questions, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions? And also, we included the ongoing support through PLCs, instructional rounds to observe and debrief best practice, model lessons and peer coaching, digital resources library, student work protocol to monitor progress. And we include the evaluation and evidence of impact of this proposal.
So on the ongoing support, are those instructional rounds by cohort or cadre, or are they individual?
We are going to discuss that in our planning.
And on the student work protocols, there's some dual language writing sample evaluation forms, like look fors that's for bilingual, developing biliteracy.
By leadership profiles.
We used to use one in Boulder Valley. I don't know if it's still online.
We appreciate all the support that you can give us because we would like to make sure this proposal
Well, the only thing I don't see there is co-teaching,
co-teaching.
a co-teaching model, which I think,
Um,
especially with your instructional coaches that are more experienced in movies. Not all the time, but that's one of the things people are doing.
Staff model doesn't substitute coaching.
No, I'm talking about co-teaching.
co-teaching.
As an ongoing support.
We have peer teaching, but co-teaching.
That co-teaching is not when you explain it to them and debrief it, but when I go in with you and we're teaching together.
Yeah.
We're co-teaching.
The proposal is for 125 hours for Mrs. Byron O'Connor, right?
Yes.
Where this is the shift in it, 125 hours?
Fridays when there's no school.
Friday when there is no school. And the other 100 hours, 20 for grade level, is student school session.
Remember, we declined to add to.
No, I remember. I'm just trying to figure out when I see 100 sessions, 100 hours for coaching, 160 hours total. I'm trying to figure out where the 125 is because it's not clearly defined.
Oh, yeah, the 120 was the proposal. but
125.
That we,
Yeah.
that
125.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that was in
declined.
the agenda though.
Yes,
That was
yes.
in the agenda.
Yeah.
And it's actually 168.
One six, yeah.
The agenda says 125, that's why.
yeah,
Okay.
that's when we declined to change the position to instructional coach.
Okay, that's what I
Now they're
thought.
just doing a poll.
Okay, so it's not what's in the
So
agenda.
she's being, their proposal is to stipend her for the time they pulled her from her classroom
Okay,
instead of making her one of the instructional coaches.
okay. Well, there's a dissonance between that and what's on the agenda, that's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to help you understand.
168.
You're doing a good job.
So I tried to do it briefly, but I think it's clear for you, I hope.
Yeah, what the board struggled with, what I struggled with was adding, and not that Myra is not a really good teacher, and it's not appropriate to personally sign someone out, but it was like, you lose this person from a really quality teaching classroom to become an instructional coach. It also changes the supervisory relationship.
Yeah.
And she
we-
knows someone in this room. I'm not mentioning any names.
And the support that she's going to provide to the teachers is going to be 1 day a month. So we are going to schedule that support for pre-K, first, second, and second. And third,
K3.
K3. So I'm going to change to K3.
Yeah,
Well, I can live with this proposal. Okay, I struggled with the other one.
Okay. So it means Toledo is going to be 4-8. Okay.
Driving me crazy. Still have that baby.
Any language that you don't understand in this proposal that you would like for me to explain?
So we're voting on 168 hours of compensation for Ms. Byron Wincata, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're voting for. And that's beyond her regular contract.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're actually voting for the proposal of the way they're gonna do this coaching model.
Okay.
So you were saying that most of them are on Fridays?
Yes.
Okay, because I noticed that July, the 9th, it's a Wednesday. And then Thursday.
Oh,
and
yes,
Friday.
yes, because it's before school. We have, I'm sorry, the 1st July is the planning to present to the teachers what we are going to do for them. Yeah. We have to meet before the teachers come. Otherwise, we are not going to start doing that when the school is in session.
Get the motion.
Yeah,
Because it's not for this.
I would say that we're voting on a proposal for the multilingual support and biliteracy coaching.
Instead of the stipend?
That includes.
That
the-
includes a stipend, but the motion is about that proposal.
This is people of a
Proposal
proposal.
for this title right here.
That's not what the
I know,
item says.
it's not,
Or-
it's just
I
an
know
So I
that's,
think the intent with the agenda was because Dr. Moncada obviously doesn't want to approve Myra's stipend himself, so he wants to.
And he
bring it to-
cannot,
Yeah,
right.
so, as opposed to him being able to issue it directly to like Cynthia, who would be doing the additional stuff outside of it. So I think the motion for you guys could just be acting on
the
allowing
proposal.
Myra to participate in the program at
Yeah.
that stipend rate.
I move to approve the proposal for professional learning as proposed and to include the stipend rate for Mrs. Moncada.
For 168
Mr.
hours.
Balik, I second.
For 168 hours, right?
Yes.
So it's not 25, 125.
No, it's 168.
It was 168.
That's
They
why,
added more.
stay out of it.
Was they added more?
Let them keep going.
And also we are going to invite Toledo before school, so we can plan also with her before to 8.
Is there,
It's not there, but it's
Oh,
a
I will
stipend.
second it.
it's been moved and seconded, is there discussion? What she did is she undertook the school view of the instructional plan. It happened to include the stipend for Mrs. Moncada.
Okay,
That's where we got here.
are we still in discussion phase?
Yes.
Next time, right, where we have something in the agenda, let's be really clear about this, whether it's a plan that includes, if the plan includes stipends, that we say what the stipends are, the hours that are included, make sure they're correct, and the person receiving it. Because it's not matching between what we have the agenda and what we're.
I know, but
we're doing
what's
now.
rule is the motion that I made included the corrected hours.
I just said for next time.
It's his fault. No te metas.
So can I paraphrase, can I make sure that we're voting on the right thing?
Yeah.
That we are voting on this particular plan, the proposal for multilingual learner support biliteracy coaching for SY 25-26, in which there will be 168 hours of additional compensation for Ms. Myra Lucada to implement this plan along with Dr. Rivera and staff. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Good, okay.
Call the vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. A motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you. And pursuant to New Mexico section NMSA 1978, we'll now meet in closed session. And it is 7:32 PM and we'll be out at 7:35, so don't go far.
Really?
Oh my God, that was funny. Are you serious?
This week you may go home.
Huh?
Or your, to
Are
your
you
cot
ready
that
to
you
make
have
it
now.
out?
Whichever way you like.
That's
it.
Oh,
Thank you.
I took everyone's time and I wanted to respect all of you.
She thinks we're very interesting.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Toledo.
Yes, thank you all.
Next time we'll
Yes,
call a
wow.
special session.
Yeah, oh, goodness gracious.
Great
Sometimes I get carried away and I don't process the time.
No, that was.
That's what we should be discussing at every meeting.
Every
is how
meeting.
good
Right,
you do.
exactly, that's what they say, or we move out.
No, my wife made food at home, so I'm okay.
Oh, that should be our work is food achievement every day,
We have to
Right.
pause that.
I think.
Oh.
You can't
Mr.
pause, but I
Lemon, I'm gonna show you
can
this.
mute it and
Discuss the evaluation.
I don't know, I think that's what and close it up now.
Everybody good? Everybody ready? Hi, everyone. It's 7:57 PM. We have now moved out of executive session, and the only item that we discussed was the evaluation of Dr. Moncada.
Anything else for the good of the order?
Are you on to G then? Or? is it-
Yeah, we can't do if we didn't put it on the agenda, we can't do what Kyle sent us until the next
Right,
meeting.
so next meeting will be contract and recommendations, right?
And I need to do
Fantastic.
SLED policy.
Good. Okay,
So that needs going.
So next meeting, contract approval.
Straightening
Sped
seclusion and
evals.
time.
Thank you all for coming this evening, and thank you all for the treats.
And then I might be online next month.
7:58 PM, I'm adjourning the meeting. Thank you all. Our spring meetings are always so long.
Dr. Medina does look good. There's a good chance, I haven't
When's your
missed a
due date? 2
meeting
weeks, you
in the 3 years I've been on, but there's a good chance I'll miss the next one. I'll be on the East Coast, it's gonna be 7 o'clock, and we've got activities going on, it's
But still,
fairly
at the end of
big.
the